one of the big transitions I think that we are making right now is a transition from the physical to the virtual. That on one level seems obvious, but when, for example, we compare political violence from 50 years ago till now, we might say that the rhetoric is hot, but the physicality is less. And I think this in some ways connects with Jordan Hall's fifth dimensional warfare, where the kinetic is sublimated by the rhetorical and the virtual. And so what we tend to see is really fierce language online, but the realities of disrupting the electrical grid, the internet, new sales of video games, Netflix, food distribution, all of these things would simply be too costly, that there's sort of a physicalist secularism that gets enforced. And Christianity is sort of behind that. Don't starve people. Don't, and there's maybe a universal basic income that comes up and says, we can have our war between right and left, but, we don't really want people to die in this. We sort of want everybody in their little Netflix boxes we call apartments, sitting there with their game controllers and their keyboards, screaming at each other, maybe fragging each other on video games. But for the most part, the electricity stays on. DoorDash keeps coming to the door. And whether or not we reproduce, well, this is actually part of the reproductive question, which is, children really get in the way of playing your video games. And so if you really love your video games, let's not have any and just keep our own little mental wars going on while we just sort of age and age and age. And then when we get to a point where we can't see well enough and we can't make screens big enough and we can't hear well enough, well, then maid comes and takes out our life, cleans up the apartment for the next rabbit to inhabit the virtual studio.
Well,
boy, that's dystopian.
Well, someone mentioned in the chat on YouTube the WEF stuff, and I've been thinking about this is, you will get in the pods and you will eat the bugs, but like we're already there, yeah, it's not dimensional. I wasn't going to bring that up.
Generational, yeah.
But I'll speak about me and my own personal degeneracy for a moment. I love scotch, and I love marijuana, and I love women, and I have, for the past 3 weeks, despite what you may see online, I've avoided all three. And as I told my priest the other day, I feel so much vigor that I feel a strong desire to lay siege to a city. And and what I think is happening is it's the video games is part of it, the Netflix is part of it. Not having a feast and fast cycle, always filling your belly with the DoorDash. The easy access to whatever form of marijuana is legal in your region, the drinking of the alcohol, and the easy release through online imagery of women. It anesthetizes the aggression and disagreeableness of men. And it's not so much that we're venting through discussion online and stuff that is taking the pressure off there being actual steady violence. It's that we have chemically emasculated and neutered men to the point that there's no capability of engaging in actual warfare anymore on any scale.
Physical warfare.
Yeah. And so basically, it's just we've chemically castrated all the men in the West through easy pleasure seeking, and we've depleted their vigor, and the lack of physical fitness, which can be the obesity issue, but often it's just being so sedentary that you don't build up that physical capacity. And as anybody who has the misfortune of following me on Twitter and or Instagram, I'm consistently posting workout videos. So
that's better than the internet, girls.
so like a physical re-embodiment of masculinity and giving up these easy pleasures that are sapping your vigor is what we need. But when men come around to that, there's going to be actual bombs going off in places.
Well, that's a limbic hack, right, Paul? And I think one of the things is, like, for what purpose, to use a bit of Marxist language, for what purpose is the value of all these generations being extracted, right? And is it simply a run mill to extract as much value of me out, right? I've had children. That was actually counterproductive, since somebody else elsewhere in the world could have had children at a cheaper marginal rate than me, right? And I could have just continued to be in my house consuming. I own, but my house was expensive because it was ridiculous, because there's like everywhere else in the West, a housing crisis, right? Or I could be renting and I could be paying half my salary to rent, right? You are squeezing in an optimized fashion every ounce out of me, right? And I don't like that. And I would just very quickly wrap up, Paul. Like, the war is not kinetic, but if the demographic impact of it is such that the pyramid collapses in right at the bottom, in a manner equivalent to a whole generation, like the Ukrainian men who die will never have children, right? That's functionally the same as what's happening in South Korea, right? Where they are simply just being squeezed like oranges. So there's kinetic war, there's fifth/sixth generation war, and there's a singular outcome of man used as a product.
But we've always known that men are not the bottleneck in physical reproduction. It's women. Genghis Khan demonstrated that.
Well, I mean, up until 3 weeks ago, while Paul was sipping scotch in Austin, I'm on these construction sites and I see plenty of manly vigor. And then most of those, a good number of those guys, after they get done building houses, are getting in their car and they're driving around to deliver Paul's DoorDash and, to pay for diapers and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's hard. And I think there's not a good path, but like, it's not like this is just why, like, I can't deal with the doomerism. Like, I went through the whole thing. I went through all the conspiracies, and then I just was like, okay, but God is more powerful than this. And, and there are these things like I think this is kind of the problem, is that in some sense that we are maybe like so much of what we see on the internet is just whatever it is, it's all gonna whatever it's showing you, it's going to show it to you in a more negative than reality way. Because it's more salient and it gets you hooked more, and like so it is a messy thing, because it's like I'm on these spaces and I'm not I do my fair amount deal of complaining about things. Some of this is just me saying I don't know how to solve these problems. There are maybe ways. I don't know how to reach the people that maybe have more influence to help do things. But it's not like, when you give into despair, like that's when it's over. So I'm not going to do that, and I think that there are many more people that are not despairing. Like, I mean, I think that the event, the response to the events of the Charlie Kirk's, after his memorial and all that has been mostly positive. And, I've seen a few people that are on the like, this doesn't prove, this just proves that speech doesn't work. We need to adopt violence. And like, it's like, these are just childish men who have, they've taken this red pill of like this macho version of masculinity that is such an online construct. It's the male to male transgender. They've become the extreme version of male. Yeah, there's female to female. That's what's on OnlyFans.
Whoa.
So,